until the night is done. You can't get enough. Right into the dawn. We should let it go. I know what you want. You can't get enough. Right into the dawn. We should let it go. I know what you want.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS Community Builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
Love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck! PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details and talk abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow, congratulations on creating your own progressive web app. That's amazing. Now, it's time to share it with the community so they can be inspired and amazed by your work. Whether you made it yourself, with your group, or your company, all projects are welcome to be showcased. We'll make a pub, probably do a live, and invite you to personally share your experience making it. We promise to make sure your efforts in making it will be worth it. Promise. So what are you waiting for? Send your project details now at showcase.pwapilipinas.org and let's showcase your amazing work to the world. We can't wait to see what you've created.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck. PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details and talk abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow, congratulations on creating your own progressive web app. That's amazing. Now, it's time to share it with the community so they can be inspired and amazed by your work. Whether you made it yourself, with your group, or your company, all projects are welcome to be showcased. We'll make a pub, probably do a live, and invite you to personally share your experience making it. We promise to make sure your efforts in making it will be worth it. Promise. So what are you waiting for? Send your project details now at showcase.pwapilipinas.org and let's showcase your amazing work to the world. We can't wait to see what you've created.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck. PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details and talk abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow, congratulations on creating your own progressive web app. That's amazing. Now, it's time to share it with the community so they can be inspired and amazed by your work. Whether you made it yourself, with your group, or your company, all projects are welcome to be showcased. We'll make a pub, probably do a live, and invite you to personally share your experience making it. We promise to make sure your efforts in making it will be worth it. Promise. So what are you waiting for? Send your project details now at showcase.pwapilipinas.org and let's showcase your amazing work to the world. We can't wait to see what you've created.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations. Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also, it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck. PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details and talk abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow, congratulations on creating your own progressive web app. That's amazing. Now, it's time to share it with the community so they can be inspired and amazed by your work. Whether you made it yourself, with your group, or your company, all projects are welcome to be showcased. We'll make a pub, probably do a live, and invite you to personally share your experience making it. We promise to make sure your efforts in making it will be worth it. Promise. So what are you waiting for? Send your project details now at showcase.pwapilipinas.org and let's showcase your amazing work to the world. We can't wait to see what you've created.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations. Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also, it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck. PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionites.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details in Talk Abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow, congratulations on creating your own progressive web app. That's amazing. Now, it's time to share it with the community so they can be inspired and amazed by your work. Whether you made it yourself, with your group, or your company, all projects are welcome to be showcased. We'll make a pub, probably do a live, and invite you to personally share your experience making it. We promise to make sure your efforts in making it will be worth it. Promise. So what are you waiting for? Send your project details now at showcase.pwapilipinas.org and let's showcase your amazing work to the world. We can't wait to see what you've created.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations. Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck. PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionites.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details in Talk Abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow!
until the night is done. You can't get enough. Right into the dawn. We should let it go. I know what you want. You can't get enough. Right into the dawn. We should let it go. I know what you want.
Hello everyone. Happy Saturday. Alright, so before we begin, I'll be introducing to you our organization, PWA Pilipinas. Pero syempre, feel free to leave comments, shoutouts, after natin matuto, diba, about different tips in the IT industry, kung nanood kayo kanina. Ngayon, matuto naman tayo about something much more technical. Yan. Pero, syempre, introduce ko muna ating community, which is PWA Pilipinas. Ayan. Alright, so we are PWA Pilipinas. Dinig ba ako? Yes. Dinig ako. Alright. So we are a community for progressive web app makers. Asa na ba yun? Makers, designers, and users here in the Philippines. So our mission is to introduce and nurture progressive web apps development and adoption in the Philippines and beyond by actually fostering a community for subject matter experts, enthusiasts, adopters, and developers of the platform, and by actually providing resources, engagement, just like this, to stimulate interest in PWA technology. Because our vision is that progressive web apps would be adopted widely here in the Philippines. So we have different events. We have our meetups, workshops, live stream, just like this. We also have other special events like our introduction to PWA, our Oktoberfest celebration. Alright, so if you wanted to be part of our community, our small club, make sure to check out our socials. And of course, we also have our PWA Pilipinas app, where you can, super app actually, where you can see our events, what else? See out the latest post, basically everything, right? Alright. So some announcements. First is from Stack League. So if you watched the ad earlier, which I did the voiceover, if you wanted to have to join their pro league, right? Where you could get exclusive job opportunities, just level up to gold by actually visiting stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Yan. And call for speakers. If you wanted to share your knowledge here at PWA Pilipinas, kahit hindi about PWA, kahit about cloud, about APIs, about web, pwede yan. So just make sure to submit your proposals at sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas. Yun. And if you built a PWA and gusto siya is showcase to the widest audience possible, pwede siyang isubmit to be featured on our showcase. Just visit showcase.pwapilipinas.org. Ayan. And yung pinakinihintay ng iba dyan, pwede na kayo mag-check-in to get your e-certificate from PWA Pilipinas. How would you do that? I will show you right now. Alright, so just visit bit.ly/PWA-Azure Fluid. So create your PWA Pilipinas account, and once nakapag-register na kayo, makikita nyo yung attend event and check-in button there. Just click check-in. Alright, so makapag-check-in na kayo, and once that's done, naka-check-in na kayo, and then you can now download your certificate, which would be made by this very cute cat. And once that's done, ayan, you can already download your certificate. Alright, here. Which is right here. See? It's really cool. Alright. So, additional, no? This is medyo recent pa lang, but AWS would be having their community day here in the Philippines. That's happening on July 29 to 30th. Just make sure to register by visiting or see, hindi ko pa sure yung site, but just make sure to visit awsug.ph. Alright. What's next? Of course, as a reminder before we begin, before you put your comments and questions there, that PWA Pilipinas is a safe space. Make sure to read, understand, and follow our code of conduct, which is right there. And I believe na once you also created your PWA Pilipinas account, dun sa onboarding, it's also there. Alright. So, wag natin patagalin pa. Let's welcome our speaker. So, let me introduce our speaker. So, our speaker is Seiji. He graduated cum laude with a degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science at the University of Santo Tomas. He's currently a senior React and .NET developer. I'm not sure if this is still correct, but he's one of the Microsoft MVPs in the Philippines. Sorry, kinuha ko lang sa Sessionize. And also one of the community leaders of Angular PH, who is involved organizing tech meetups, mentorships, and has written tutorials in his own website, seijivillafranca.com. He has also been a speaker in several events and conferences around the world. Please welcome to the PWA Pilipinas Live, Seiji. Alright, asan na siya? Ayan.
Hello guys. Nice to see you again. So lipat transfer from one community to another. So yeah, thank you Andre again for having me in PWA Pilipinas. So it's a pleasure to be a speaker again on your event. So yeah, share ko na yung screen ko and
All right.
I'll share it. Wait lang. Yeah.
If you have questions, feel free to comment them here.
Yep. Can you see my screen already?
Yes.
Yun.
Can see your screen.
Thank you, Andre, again for introduction. No? So once again, good evening, guys. So a while ago, I was the host. Right now, I'm already the speaker. So yun, wag natin patagalin pa. So let's move on to our topic. But before moving on again, siguro introduce ko lang yung sarili ko in a short moment. So yeah, our topic for today is about introduction to Azure Fluid Relay. So hindi siya actually about PWA, but actually this technologies we can use it in terms of developing our PWA applications. And see, PWA, as we all know, is making our lives easier when we want to develop applications for mobile. So native-like applications by just using web technologies. So to make things more easier, so we can use Azure Fluid Relay. So ano ba yung Azure Fluid Relay? So ito yung tatalakayin natin, or ito yung magiging topic natin for this evening. So yeah, once again, I'm Seiji Ralph Villafranca. So currently, I am a senior developer here in the Netherlands. So I am now living in the Netherlands, so in Europe. So from Wipon Technologies, Netherlands. So yeah, as a senior developer, ano ba yung ginagawa ko? So same what I do in the Philippines. So I develop stuff. So currently, I'm working in KPN, so the main telecommunications of Netherlands. So I am currently working in an identity management system. So if you will ask ano ba yung stack or framework na ginagamit ko, so I'm currently using Angular and Node.js. So yung previous work ko is I'm a React developer, but I switched frameworks actually. So yun yung mga naging experience ko. So mainly in JavaScript and TypeScript. So that's what I do here in the Netherlands. And also, I'm a Microsoft MVP. So currently, I'm a Microsoft MVP in developer technologies. So what I usually do as a Microsoft MVP is I share share knowledge or information specifically about Microsoft products. So we have different categories. So I am falling under the developer technologies. So I usually share with the topics that are related to GitHub or even TypeScript as well. So yun yung mga focus ko na topics or tech. So sometimes, like this one, I also share about Azure. So mga new stuffs that we can use in Azure with regards or with related to developing applications. So yun yung mga sinishare ko na stuff as a Microsoft MVP. Then also, I'm an Auth0 Ambassador. So actually, as an Auth0 Ambassador, medyo related to sa current work ko ngayon since I'm working with an identity management system. And right now, even though I'm here at the Netherlands, I am currently the community lead of Angular Philippines. So just like PWA Pilipinas, we are also organizing events, seminars, trainings, meetups, and bootcamps for you guys. So it's actually totally free. So we are also a non-profit organization in the Philippines. So as a community lead, so kami yung responsible for organizing this kind of events. And lastly, I am also an author of a book. So my book or our book was released last December. So this is actually related to web development, or the topic is about a full stack web development using Angular and Java Spring. So hindi ko na-include yung link dito, but if you are interested to get our book, so just type in my name and just say Angular and Java Spring. So makikita niyo na siya sa Amazon. So it's already available in Amazon. So yeah, I have already been a speaker for several years already. So I guess, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years already. So I've been into different meetups, communities, and even international conferences and local also conferences in the Philippines. So yun, marami-rami na rin ako napuntahan. And syempre, ang pinakagusto ko dyan is sa mga local communities talaga, or yung mga Filipino tech communities like Angular Philippines, so our home community. So DevCon, React.js Pilipinas, I also been a speaker there. SoftCon, which is the one of the largest conferences in the Philippines, and PWA Pilipinas as well. So marami na ako napuntahan. But to say it, so hindi lang as a speaker but also an audience. So masaya din maging audience guys since marami kayong speakers na mamimit and makakapag-connect with them. So marami kayong matututunan when joining communities or even meetups as well. So yeah, I'm encouraging you guys to join this kind of meetups or conferences. Yeah. So yeah, enough about me. So let's move on to our topic for this night. So yeah, Azure Fluid Relay. So I want this event to be interactive as well. So guys, if you have some questions, you can actually comment your questions. But if I will also ask questions right now. So pwede nyo rin i-comment yung mga sagot nyo. So yeah, I know that you are already familiar with Azure, but I am not sure that if you are familiar with Fluid Relay. So what is Azure Fluid Relay or ano ba talaga si Azure Fluid Relay? So to give you an example or to give you a summary para mas maintindihan nyo kung para saan si Azure Fluid Relay is this kind of phrase. So or this sentence. So we want real-time collaboration. So in the apps that are being developed today, so marami ng applications na gumagamit ng real-time collaborations or what we call or the technologies that are using push notification. So, ito yung hindi kailangan refresh yung browser or hindi mo kailangan mag-pull ng data from the server. So, the updates or the information or the new information that are being sent to the server is being pushed by the client in the client. So, we want real-time collaboration. So, ito na yung mga actually nagtitrend ngayon na apps, especially in games. So, that's actually real-time. So, in real-time collaboration, so to just give you a summary, so we are actually familiar what is real-time applications that are using real-time collaboration. So we have several users that are connecting to a single application. So itong users na to, so one user can give updates and all other users will receive the updates. So this is considered broadcast. So in order for other users as well to receive the updates, hindi na nila kailangan mag-refresh or hindi na kailangan i-pull yung data. So these updates are being received in a way of by pushing it. So hindi na natin siya pinupull manually. So these are real-time updates. So Azure Fluid Relay gives seamless data flow. And may nakalimutan ako isa. And this does not, this is actually technology agnostic. So, ito yung mga umuuso talaga na applications ngayon. So, it's real-time collaborative apps. So, why? Because of its dynamic updates and makikita natin talaga na real-time na ito yung mga na-update na data. So, the common way, ano ba yung ginagawa natin or ano ba yung ginagamit nating tools in order for us to build real-time applications? So, the first thing that we need to do, or hindi naman first thing, is one of the steps that we need to do is to handle the logic in front and back. So, if you remember the technologies or the common technologies na ginagamit natin in building real-time, so meron tayong tinatawag na Socket.io if you're using Node.js, or you can also use it in different framework, or SignalR if you're a .NET developer. So, ito yung mga ginagamit natin when it comes to building or configuring the sockets or the connections in our backend. So it's actually both worlds that we are configuring. So it's both front and back end. So the first one is the client web app. So syempre, if there are updates that are happening in the server coming from the back end or from another client, so kailangan natin i-handle yung mga changes na yun sa front end. So, meron tayong logic sa front end in order for us to receive that notifications. And service, so think of this as the middleware or ito yung pinaka nagsisend or nagdadala ng data from back end to front end. So, si service is yung pinaka main waiter natin for pushing updates. Then, we have the storage itself. So, there are times that we want to place the data that are updated in our storage. So, client web app, that's the front-end service, that is the back-end. So, what are the things that we need to worry? First one is how to handle the updates. So, as I have mentioned a while ago, So if you are using the client web app, or if you are configuring the client web app rather, what we would want to do is to handle the updates from our front end. So ito yung isa sa mga dapat i-worry natin. Paano natin i-handle yung mga napupush na updates coming from another client to the server. Then, syempre, merge update conflicts. So hindi to about sa GitHub, but to merge the updates of the data happening in the push notification. So for example, meron tayong update from a client. So syempre, ipaprocess to ni server and marireceive to ng other clients na connected. So kailangan natin i-sync properly yung mga data na nanggagaling sa server going to the client. So syempre, real-time app store or real-time collaborative apps. So dapat sync lahat ng data na pumapasok dun sa front-end application natin. Then, next is receive updates in client. So, syempre, how can we receive the updates coming from the server? So, this is not actually the typical way. So, for example, if we are using REST in our application, so REST is just by refreshing the data. So, it's the request and the response. So, kapag ni-refresh natin yung data or we reload the page, so doon natin na-receive yung updates or doon na-receive natin yung mga bagong data na coming from the database or in the server. But in creating real-time applications, syempre iba yung way natin or yung flow natin. So, we don't need to refresh anything. So, once we detect something that an update is coming from another client, so kailangan din natin i-push to sa mga client web apps. So, we need to update the client web apps based on the updates or the changes that are happening in our sockets or in our server. So WebSockets. So alam niyo na rin lahat to. So this is actually the common way or the common technology that we are using in order for us to build real-time collaborative apps. So WebSockets, ito yung pinaka or I would say famous talaga na ginagamit natin for real-time applications. So, and as I have mentioned a while ago, so one of the famous frameworks or one of the famous technologies that we're using is Socket.io. And if you're also a .NET developer, so ito yung ginagamit din natin, SignalR. So, this WebSockets or this technologies that are being used in creating real-time application is ito yung ginagamit niyang pattern or ito yung ginagamit niyang steps para ma-achieve natin yung real-time apps. So, we are handling the logic between the front end and the back end. So yeah, we have the framework, but we are still worrying about this kind of situations. So both worlds kailangan nating i-set up or i-configure, and these three scenarios kailangan din natin to i-take and consider. So these are the major things that we should consider in building real-time applications. So yeah, kung iisipin nyo mabuti or kung iisipin nyo, ano ba yung mga steps na kailangan natin or kung yung mga kailangan nating i-worry, I would say this will be my current mood if I would think of the things that I need to configure or to set up just to build my real-time applications. So, kung isipin natin, medyo mahirap talaga siya. Marami siyang logic, so yung mga sockets, yung mga magko-connect, it's very complex. So, may logic tayo sa back-end, meron din tayong logic sa front-end. So, this can make things a lot complex and a lot harder in terms of just building a non-real-time application. Okay, so yeah. So, we have that kind of problem. So, kaya naman natin i-achieve yung real-time apps with these technologies or this WebSockets in developing real-time applications. But the problem nga is nagkakaroon ng complexity since we are worrying with the back-end logic and the front-end logic. So, dito pumapasok or dito sinasolve ni Azure Fluid Relay yung dilemma ng front-end and back-end. So, we have Azure Fluid Relay collaboration. So, paano ba ginagawa ni Azure Fluid Relay or ano ba yung technology ni Azure Fluid Relay para mabawasan yung complexity for us to build real-time application? So, papakita ko ulit yung pattern or yung steps na kailangan natin para mag-build ng real-time application but by using Azure Fluid Relay itself. So, same pa naman, we still have our client web app. So, this is still our front end. So, for example, this is Messenger itself. So, that's the application. So, that's our front end. And yes, we still have our service. So si service is siya yung nagsasend or siya yung nagpo-push ng notifications or data na nag-update papunta dun sa front end natin. So for example, your application is Messenger. So yung service is siya yung responsible for sending or pushing the messages on the client side, which is yung nakikita natin dun sa application natin. And still, we have our storage. So syempre, yung mga messages na pinapadala natin or yung mga messages na nakastore na nakita natin sa Messenger, syempre meron siyang storage na kung saan natin siya makikita or kung saan siya pinapersist. So, same pa rin naman. We have the same pattern or we have the same resources or components that we need for us to create the collaborative app. But ano ba yung pinakaiba if we have the Azure Fluid Relay? So, Azure Fluid Relay, so it's this technology is the one responsible for handling the services and the storage. So, it's quite vague. So, I guess hindi nyo pa masyado maintindihan. But I would say na this is actually the server side or your backend already. So, Azure Fluid Relay is cloud. So, yung backend logic for creating sockets, for creating the connections in your backend and storage, so hindi na natin kailangan gawin yun. So, ang main responsible na doon is Azure Fluid Relay. So, the services that are responsible for storing or sending or pushing your data to your client web app and the storage that will hold this data will now be handled by Azure Fluid Relay. So, hindi na natin siya kailangan i-worry. So, that's -1 responsibility from the developer side. So, yeah. Nakita nyo na yung summary or nakita nyo na yung introduction on how Azure Fluid Relay will reduce the effort or the complexity in order for us to create real-time collaborative application. So, ayun. That's what is Azure Fluid Relay. But before moving to Azure Fluid Relay itself, so let's first discuss what is Fluid Framework. So, just to give an introduction, guys. So, si Azure Fluid Relay is a service or one of the service of Azure. And si Fluid, it's actually a separate framework. So, makikita nyo mamaya ano yung difference ni Fluid kay Azure Fluid Relay. So, before moving on to Azure Fluid, let's first discuss the Fluid framework itself. So, si Fluid, so it allows developers build real-time collaborative experiences. So, same pa rin naman. So, si Fluid is the technology that is actually enabling us to build real-time collaborative apps using containers. So, this is actually the framework itself. So, wala pa dito si Azure. So, it also allows multiple clients to simultaneously create and operate on shared data structures. So, it allows several clients, in summary, na makapag-connect through push notifications and by using data structures. So, mamaya makikita natin ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng data structures dito inside the Fluid framework. So, if you want to visit Fluid Framework, you can just type in Fluid Framework and ito yung pinaka-main website nila. So, they have also their own community, documentation, and even recipes. So, recipes meaning that Fluid Framework can be applied in different frameworks as well. So, yeah. What is Fluid? So, it builds real-time collaborative apps. But another question is, why choose Fluid? Meron naman tayong ibang technologies or frameworks like Socket.io, Signal.r, but why should we choose Fluid versus the others? So, the first one is very low latency. So, since, syempre, si Fluid Framework is just using containers, we are not using sockets anymore, we are not enabling or we're not configuring our own sockets. So, every data that we are trying to send or we are trying to update in real time, so it's now located in just one container. And we are not handling different connections anymore. And si Fluid, it's just a framework. So kapag dineploy pa natin to sa Azure as a container, so magkakaroon talaga ng low latency compared to other socket connections. So next is client-centric application model. So what do you mean by client-centric? So as I have mentioned a while ago, so we do not worry anymore about the backend. So we are only responsible for the client or the front-end side of the application. So later on, makikita nyo kung bakit ganun, kung bakit siya client-centric. Bakit front-end lang yung kailangan natin worry and we do not care about the backend anymore. So Fluid is actually quite client-centric. So this is -1 effort compared to other frameworks. The next is distributed data structures. So this is actually one of the most important parts or features of Fluid Framework. So yung data na sinishare natin or yung mga real-time data na sinesend natin throughout the clients or through different connected clients is in a form of data structure. So Fluid is using 3 different data structures in order to store data in the container as well as to share data in different clients. So as I have said, Fluid is actually focused on the client developer. So this is actually the client-centric application. So client developer, meaning sa front end lang tayo. So we do not worry, we do not care about the back end side anymore. Right. So Fluid handles all the server logic. So yeah, kung isipin nyo is sobrang laki ng advantage nito since nagkaroon na tayo ng -1 responsibility in developing real-time apps. So another one is why Fluid is 0 custom code on the server. I would say that this is also the same as we do not handle the Fluid or the server logic rather in developing real-time apps. So ganun siya kadali in terms of building real-time apps. So we do not write any server code in building this kind of applications by using Fluid. So yeah, it's responsible for taking data operations, sequencing the operations, and returning the sequence operations to the client. So if I would ask you guys, so sino na ba yung mga nakagawa dito ng real-time applications? So I think I would say also na it's very complex since especially except na lang siguro if your real-time is broadcast, so you do not worry about the IDs or ano ba yung mga groups na kailangan nyo i-send. But if you're creating a chat application siguro, so I would say that it's kind of complex to set up your server logic or your custom code on the server itself. So it depends pa dun sa logic. So sa mga nakagawa ng real-time applications dyan, so it's really a dilemma for us since the back-end side is marami tayong ginagawang configuration depending on how we would send or how we would update the client based on the requirements. So for example, sa Messenger, may mga peer-to-peer or may mga one-to-many. So it depends really actually. So maraming scenarios. So ayun yung nagpapahirap sa atin when it comes to building real-time applications. So yeah, that is Azure Fluid. Ayun yung ginagawa niya. So paano niya napapadali yung buhay natin when it comes to building real-time apps. So next is, paano ba gumagana si Fluid? So si Fluid is framework also. It's actually on top na framework on top na nilalagay natin or a library na nilalagay natin sa code natin. So instead of creating your own backend, so ito yung gagawin na nating backend. So for example, we have an application, a very simple application which is a dice roller app. So itong dice roller app is meron lang isang button. So kapag pinilik natin yun, is magro-roll lang yung dice. So random numbers from 1 to 6. So this is a very simple app. I will demo this one also after this topic or after this slide. Mapakita ko sa inyo kung paano ba gumagana yung Fluid with simple JavaScript. So this app is created in just a simple JavaScript. Wala tayong gamit na framework. So it's just vanilla. So for example, we want to use Fluid for our dice roller app. So the step 1 is to write a code that will detect or that will allow us to see the data change in our local. So for example, sa client natin, syempre, pag kinilik natin yung button, so dapat magro-roll yung dice. So randomly. So for example, current value is 1. So kapag pinilik natin, so dapat mag-change yung value niya into another number from 1 to 6. So for example, 2. So ito yung first step natin. So we will write a code that will reflect the changes of the number of the dice. So this is a function, update dice. So makikita natin dito na we will just get the value. So mamaya makikita natin kung ano tong dice map.get, but this is actually coming from the Azure Fluid. But on the other code, especially in line 4 and line 5, so iniiba lang natin yung view natin. So, ilalagay lang natin yung value ng dice or yung current value from 1 to 6 dun sa text content. So, i-display natin yung number. Then, we can also change the color of the dice. So, just for fun or just for design purposes. Then, next is sends the change to the Fluid service. So, syempre, ang goal pala natin dito sa Dice Roller app is if one or multiple sessions rather are connected. So, kapag may isang client or isang session na nag-roll ng dice, so dapat makikita din ng ibang connected clients yung updated number. So, for example, I roll the dice, naging number 3 siya. So, dapat other clients or other sessions will see the number 3 as well. So, kapag tinawag ko yung function na update dice, so, syempre, magro-roll yung dice, mag-iiba yung number. So, we would want to send that update to the Fluid service. So, how can we send that update to the Fluid service? So, we can call the .set function. So, the roll button, kapag na-click siya, so itatawagin natin yung set. So, .set, it's coming from Azure or Fluid Relay rather. So, ipapasa natin yung updated na value. So, this is mat.floor. And the dice value key is the key of the container itself. So, we are now sending the change from the dice roller to the Fluid service. So, the .set will just set the new value in our container. Then, step 3. So, Fluid service sequences that operation and broadcast to all clients. So, for example, sobrang simple lang talaga ng app natin. We just want it to be a broadcast we just want it to be a broadcasting message or broadcasting application. So, gusto lang natin lahat ma-update yung mga users na connected. So, for example, kinilik ko nga yung dice number 1, naging 3. So, lahat makikita nila is 3. So, sa backend, as I have said a while ago, client-centric. So, Fluid service will be the responsible to sequence that kind of operations na ibo-broadcast sa client. So, there's a hidden logic in the Fluid service itself. So, hindi na natin makikita yon. It's not transparent in our side. So, siya na yung bahala mag-send ng updates papunta sa iba't ibang session. So, in this illustration, so merong container. So, na-update siya. Yung value is na-update sa container na to based on the step 2. So, for example, 3 yung laman. So, the service will try to get that number 3 or will get that state. And it will broadcast that to different clients that are connected. So that will be done by Fluid service. Then, step 4. So ito yung actually or this is the logic that we need to place in order for other clients to receive the value or the new value as well. So we will have a listener named value change event on our client. So in order for us to have that value or to have that change or listener rather, so we will use the .on, then the value change. So yung dice map, meron siyang, it's also coming from the Fluid service. So meron siyang function on, and if we listen to the event value change, so this will be triggered once the value of the number or that data changes from the container. So madedetect niya yun. Then, after that, syempre, magti-trigger to. So magpa-fire tong event na to. Gusto natin ulit tawagin yung update dice na function. Why? Syempre, yung update dice, siya yung nag-update ng value locally dun sa mga clients. So, siya yung nag-iba ng text and color in our view. So, the step 5 is simply this code again. So, hindi natin siya kailangan i-rewrite. Pinakita ko lang sa inyo. So, to see na tinatawag natin yung on, then tatawagin ulit tong update dice na function. So, i-update niya lahat ng view ng mga connected sessions or connected client. So, that's how Fluid works. So, it's kind of vague still. So, mamaya ipapakita ko yung buong code sa inyo on how the Fluid framework works in action. So, yeah. Let's deep dive more on Fluid Relay. Alam ko, medyo bitin yun. But I will show you the exact code later on. So, before that, I will show you the code, but before showing the exact or the example code of Azure or Fluid Relay, So let us first see the architecture of Fluid Relay itself. So as I have mentioned a while ago, Fluid Relay is using data structures. So ano ba tong data structures na to? Since kung napansin nyo kanina is nagsisend tayo ng iba't ibang data. So for example, the number, pwede rin JSON object. So ito yung mga pwedeng or possible i-share nating data from different clients. So data structures will now enter this kind of scenario. So there are three primary concepts or three types of data in our application. So yung shared, yung data structures is magfo-fold siya sa shared objects. But for this data structures or data types or data na sinishare is kailangan niya ng three primary concepts for Fluid Relay to work. So the first concept is service, the second concept is container, and the third one is shared objects. So I guess you are already familiar what the service is doing. So the first one is the service itself. So ano ba yung service? To summarize it, to summarize service, I would say that this is actually the waiter or ito yung pagpadala ng mga data natin sa application. So service, it's a centralized service to send and receive data in operation. So as I have mentioned a while ago, siya yung pinaka parang sender or messenger ng mga data natin. So in order for us to enable this service, so this is our library or our extension. So for us to use the Fluid service, it's at fluidframework/azure-client. So ito lang yung kailangan nating install para magamit natin yung Fluid service dun sa application natin. So yun. Then next is the container. So container, you're also familiar. So don't be confused with this one, guys. So hindi to yung Docker containers, but this is actually the Fluid container itself. So si container, to summarize, dito natin nilalagay yung mga shared data objects natin. So in the case of the dice roller, so yung number na sinishare natin within or between all of the sessions, so nilalagay natin yun sa container. So this is actually like a box na sinishare natin yung mga objects inside. So in order for us to initialize a container in our application, so let us say, for example, we have a JavaScript. So ito yung way of how we can share. So we have the initial objects, then the layout, and the layout is using a shared map data structure. So later on, we will discuss that. But the initial object, so this simply define kung ano yung mga properties niya or ano yung mga sinishare natin na object. So layout is one of the objects or one of the data that we are sharing. So this layout is shared real time. So para siyang JSON object na with different properties, and yung properties na yun is yun yung mga sinishare natin throughout different applications. Then to create this container, so we have the client. So this has a create container function. So the schema, so ito yung schema ng app ng container natin. So this will act as a parameter to the create container function. And after creating the client or after creating the container rather, so this will return actually a container ID once we attach this to our server or to the cloud. So this will return the container ID actually. So if you are using different containers or you have multiple containers present in the cloud, so ito yung parang identifier natin. So this will actually return a container ID in our application. So yun. That's the container and that's the service. So sila yung actually one of the or I would say the most important components in our Fluid Relay. So the next one is the shared objects. So si service, siya yung nagpapadala ng data. So si container, siya yung nag-hold ng data. Then next one is the shared objects, which is the data itself. So as I have said a while ago, meron siyang data structure na ginagamit sa Azure Fluid Relay or sa Fluid Relay itself. And this data are shared by in a form of data structures. So Si Fluid Relay, gumagamit siya ng 3 types. So this is shared map, shared directory, and shared string. So si shared map is like a map or hash map. So it's a map-like data structure for storing key value per data. So if you have used hash map, meron tayong key and meron tayong value. So kukunin lang natin yung key para para makuha or ma-retrieve natin yung value. So that is actually shared map. So that's how I can compare shared map. The next is the shared directory. So think of shared map as nested. So ito yung mas complex na way on how we can store our objects in the container. So it's still a map-like data structure, pero meron ng mga nested shared maps. So it's like a subdirectories already. So it's like in a form of folders. So nagagamit tong shared directories in a more complex applications or more complex real-time applications if we want to have relationships in different data. So I think shared directory is one of the recommended data structure in storing our data. And lastly, it's the shared string. So shared string is a data structure just for string data. So if gusto nyo lang mag-share ng data in a form of a string or a simple string, so pwede rin tayong gumamit niyan sa containers natin. Right. So yun, that is Azure Fluid Relay. We have a brief introduction kung ano ba yung ginagawa ni Fluid Relay. But let me show you an example on how Fluid Relay works in a simple JavaScript. Right. So I will show you the code. So let's move on to the code itself. So yeah. So as I have mentioned a while ago, so ipapakita ko sa inyo ano ba yung difference ng Fluid Relay sa Azure Fluid Relay. So don't be confused, guys. So si Fluid Relay is the framework itself. So siya yung container, siya yung nagpo-provide ng service, and siya yung nagpo-provide ng container. So the first thing that we will do is we will run the Fluid Relay without the Azure muna. So in this case, let's just check the branch. So hinanda ko na to para hindi na tayo mag-code. So let's just move on to the main branch in our code. So this is actually the dice roller app. So kanina meron lang tayong mga snippet of codes para mapakita ko sa inyo kung ano ba yung steps na kailangan natin gawin para makagawa ng real-time apps. But in this case, this is actually the actual code of that dice roller app. So in this branch, we are not using Azure Fluid or the Azure service or Azure. We are only using the Fluid Relay itself. So this is the app.js. So this is the dice roller app. So you can see here na dinownload natin or dependency natin si Fluid Framework / Tinylicious client. So medyo nakakabulol yung word, yung library name, but this is from Fluid Framework. So if you would ask me Tinylicious, I think it's because of the dependency. So hindi siya ganun kalaki. That's why it's called Tinylicious client. But I don't know really the real reason. But this is the only dependency that we need. So Fluid Framework, so wala pa tayong Azure. So we need this for us to instantiate or to create the configuration for our Fluid container. So in order for us to create our container, so we will have a new instance of Tinylicious client. Then the new instance, this client, can now create a container. So, but before creating the container, so you need to define your schema. So kung maaalala nyo dito, the container schema, it holds a JSON object, so which has the initial object. So this is actually the data that we need to share. Then in this case, we would just want to share the number or the value of the dice. So we can call it dice map. And ano ba yung gagamitin niyang data structure? So the data structure that we want is shared map. So shared map yung gagamitin nating data structure for our client. So to create our container, so we will call the create container from the client being created from Fluid Framework, Tinylicious client. So we will pass the container schema, and this container, we need to attach this to our server. So after we have attached this, so if the attachment is successful, this will now return the ID of the container that we have deployed. So, in this case, gusto natin lang magkaroon ng initial value yung dice map. So, the dice value key, this is actually the key for this object. So, the dice value key will hold the number or the current number of the dice. So, gusto natin iset siya into 1. Then, we want to render the dice roller based on the current value or the default value once we have loaded this application. So, in this case, let's try to run the application. So, in order for us to run the application, syempre, wala pa tayo sa Azure, kailangan muna natin i-run yung server for our container. So, let's try to run our container. So, let's wait for our app to run. Excuse me. Yan. So, wait lang natin guys. Medyo matagal yan. Okay. So, yan. Nawala yata yung camera ko. Yan. Okay. So, we can see that our server is running already. So, it's now listening on port 7070. So, we will see here if we want to visit 7070. So, we can see in our browser that our server is successfully running. So, this is tinylicious. So, baka magtaka kayo if you're using this fluid, baka sabihin nyo na hindi siya gumagana. But if you will see this message, this signifies that your server works and your container is already running in this server. So now our server is running. So let's now try to run our client. So let's try npm run start client. Okay, so this is actually vanilla JavaScript. So that's why I'm just using Webpack. Walang framework na halo. So this proves that you can also use tinylicious in a simple vanilla JavaScript. So now, right now, we are running on localhost 8080. Let's try. So, dito na lang din. So, we don't really need this one to be open. So, yun. We have our application. So, it's now running. So, makikita natin na nakakonect na siya sa Fluid framework or dun sa Fluid container natin. But our Fluid container is actually also being served locally. So, nagra-run lang din siya sa local machine ko. So, yeah. This is the session of the dice. So, kapag ni-roll ko siya, so it's just a normal dice roller, right? So, nothing special about it. But, behind it, so Fluid framework is now working on it. So, kung makikita niyo yung URL natin, so mapapansin nyo na meron siyang hash. So, itong hash is ginawa ko lang to sa code. So, you will see here that we have some hash. So, once we have created the container, so yung hash yung magsisilbing ID natin for our session. So, you will see that this ID or the container ID is now being used as our identifier or as our session. So kapag ginamit to ng ibang user, yung hash natin, so this means that we are connected into a single session. So nasa isang container lang tayo. So all of the data that are inside the container will be shared by the multiple users that are connected to our single ID. So papakita ko sa inyo kung ano yung nangyayari if we are connected to a single ID. So, in order for us to do that, let's go on to another tab. So, another tab is considered another user, right? So, makikita natin na 4 yung nakikita natin on both users. So, it means that we are connected into a single container. So, if we don't use that ID or that session, so we will see number 1 again. Since hindi tayo gumamit ng session or hindi tayo nag-append ng bagong session dun sa URL, this means that we are creating a new session or a new container for Fluid. So, kaya siya naging 1 kasi ito yung default value natin if we are creating a new container. But in this case, these two users are connected into a single container. So, if I change this into 3, so this is the second user, so the first user should also see number 3. So that's actually real time. So we are not pulling the data manually from the server. So hindi ko mapakita sa inyo side by side, but if I just roll this, so makikita din natin on the other side that we are seeing the new updated value, which is number 5. So that's how Fluid Framework works. So kung mapapansin nyo, I don't have any other running applications, wala tayong backend. So I'm just using the Fluid container just to share data between applications. So this is now a running session in our Fluid framework. So this is the container itself. So if we connect 3 users, 4 users, it doesn't mind. So it's just detecting every connected users. So we can see that makikita ko rin yung value dito. So this is the third user. So I am rolling the dice. So dapat makikita nyo rin sa ibang tabs is number 3 din. So that's how Fluid. So yeah, you have seen ano yung concept ng Fluid framework or ano yung concept ng containers under Fluid. So naran natin siya sa locally, naran na natin yung JavaScript, but the question is, paano natin i-deploy ito? Or paano natin ilalagay itong containers na to sa cloud? And that's where Azure Fluid Relay comes in. So si Azure is integrated na sila into Fluid Framework. So ayun yung difference. So si Fluid Framework is siya yung mismong nagpo-provide ng services and container. So to make things easier for us to deploy it in the cloud, so meron ng integration in Azure Fluid. So papakita ko yun kung paano natin i-integrate si Azure kay Fluid Framework. So in this case, patayin muna natin yung mga running servers. So I also prepared a different branch. So this is me in Azure. So we can see here na meron lang na iba na konti, and we have added some dependencies or libraries for our application. So this is actually still the same application. Wala naman tayong binago. In terms of logic, wala tayong binagong code. Ang binago lang natin is yung configuration and the dependencies. So we can see here in the imports or the imported libraries or dependency is hindi na natin ginagamit si TinyLicious client. But we are now using the Fluid Framework Azure client. So this is the client that we are going to use now in order for us to deploy this cloud in our server. So Fluid Framework Azure client. So we will use the Azure client and the test client utils for the insecure token provider. So same pa rin naman siya. We just need the connection for our container in Azure Fluid. So, yun yung mga kailangan natin. So, saan ko ba kinuha tong mga connection properties natin? So, we will now move on to the Azure portal itself. So, let's go on to the portal, azure.com. Okay. So, let's just wait. So, right now, kailangan na natin pumunta sa portal. So, what we're going to do is we will create the instance of our container in our Fluid Relay. So, in Azure portal, so I'm not sure if familiar na kayo sa Azure portal, but if you want to use Azure portal, I think they have a free subscription. But if you are already familiar, so this is the first thing that you will see. So, marami silang services actually, but we only need the Fluid Relay. So, search Fluid Relay. So we can see here that we can actually create our own container or own Fluid Relay container. So let's create a new one. So in this case, I will just use my own subscription, then the speaker demo. So ipapakita ko lang sa inyo yung steps, but I will not proceed with this one since nagawa ko na siya. So for example, we want the name of our Fluid Relay container to be DICE. Resource. Then, the region kung saan natin gusto i-deploy yung container. So, for example, you're in Asia. So, we want this one to be in Asia. Then, the pricing tier. So, yung basic is, if I'm not mistaken, it's free. But the standard, meron siyang the rate is actually based on the request or ano yung mga operations na nangyayari dun sa container. So, I am not really familiar kung how much talaga, but I think for 1 million operations, it's like 0.20 cents. I'm not sure, but it's just on that range or on depending on the operations. So, after that one, just click review and create. So that's the only thing we need. So that's the information that Fluid Relay is requiring. So after reviewing and create, so this will now create our Fluid Relay. So this is the Fluid Relay itself. So you will not see much in this portal. So the only things that we need to do here is the access key. So this is the container itself. So in order for us to connect our application, so we just need this access keys. So this is the tenant ID and the primary key, which is we will use on the insecure token provider and the service endpoint. So in order for us to use that, kailangan lang natin gumawa ng connection connection property. So under the service config, so nandito yung tenant ID and the type, it's remote since we are connecting remotely to the container. Then the token provider, so this is the primary ID. So this is actually not the secure way. So kung makikita nyo nga siya, it's insecure token. But the common way is we actually put it in vault or put it in as a secret yung mga token natin para masecure yung connection. So this is just actually for demo purposes. Pero in the real world situation, hindi talaga natin ginagawa to as hard-coded dito sa app natin. Then also, endpoint, this is the endpoint coming also from the Azure Fluid Relay container. And basically, that's it. So this is our connection. Then after that one, so we will now create our client by using the Azure client. So this is actually a new instance of the client. And we will use service config as our parameter. So kung mapapansin nyo or kung maaalala nyo versus sa Fluid Framework, it's almost the same. So iba lang yung ginagamit nating client in terms of instantiating our new container. So in this case, we are now using the Azure client, not the Tinylicious client. So the client, same pa rin, wala na tayong binago. So we'll just create our container using the schema that we have created. So the schema is still the same. So we didn't change anything. So it's still the dice map and shared map. And all the functions that we have used, it's actually the same. So no logic has been changed. So the only thing that changed is the client that we are using to create or to instantiate our container. So yeah, this is it. So now the next thing is to run this application. So since our app or our container rather is already in Azure or already in cloud, so we don't need to run our server anymore. So the thing that we only need to run is the client itself. So let's actually execute the command client and npm run start client. So makikita nyo dito, hindi na natin kailangan yung start server. So this will actually connect to the container coming from Azure or being deployed in Azure. So yeah, it's still working, but the difference is it's already on the cloud. So if we use this session, so same, nakikita natin yung number 1, but if we roll the dice, so syempre, mag-update na rin yung value or the value of the dice. So this is now connected to Azure Fluid Relay. So that's actually the advantage. So you will see na ganun lang kadali gumawa ng containers in the Azure cloud. So and yeah, we already have our real-time collaborative dice roller or real-time dice roller app. So this is just simple, but if you have any ideas that you can create in your application, so Azure Fluid Relay is very useful and very rapid, and you don't have to worry about on the back end anymore. So this is now considered as a push notification or a push change in our application. So yeah, so that's it for the demo for the dice roller. I guess I can show you another one or another demo for an application that is using Azure Fluid. So I guess I will just get that. Let's try this one, brainstorm. So this one, it's now using React.js. So kanina, gumamit lang tayo ng vanilla JavaScript. So if you remember that I have said that Fluid Relay or Fluid Framework has different recipes, and you can also use it now on React.js. So this is using React. So what we're going to do is let's just run the application. So I will not deep dive on the code itself. So this is just an example. Hindi ako yung totally gumawa ng application. I just updated the libraries, the packages, just to make it work. But I'll show you how. So this is also connected to Azure Fluid Relay. So I think iibahin ko lang yung settings, I guess. Let's try to change the settings. So let's open the Hello World again. Okay. So give me a moment. Open lang natin. So if I remember, na-delete ko na yung previous containers na ginagamit niya. So we need to use another container as well. So let's copy this settings. Okay. Search na lang natin yung tenant. There, the tenant ID. So let's copy, right? Then let's try to run the app. Medyo mabagal mag-save. Let's just try. Okay. So wait lang natin. Let's close other files. Yan. So nag-save na siya. So medyo matagal. So then let's try to run this the client application locally. So yung container is same pa rin naman. I will just use the same container that we have a while ago in the Azure portal. So hindi na ako gumawa ng bagong container. Then let's try to run the app. So this is an app that is created as an example in Microsoft, I guess. So this is a collaborative app. So it's like a brainstorming application kung saan pwede tayo maglagay ng sticky notes, then makikita rin ng mga ibang connected na users, and makikita natin kung sino yung online. Pwede rin natin i-customize yung application or yung mga look and feel, or maybe just the theme of the app. So makikita rin ng iba. So it's really a collaborative application or brainstorming app application na gumagamit ng Fluid or Azure Fluid Relay. So let's just wait for this React application to start. So may mga konti rin akong change sa code. This is open source actually. So may mga change ako about sa bugs. So it's not actually related to how we send the data, but how we receive the data. But in the backend side, wala na akong ginawa doon since it's using Fluid Relay already. So that's the main advantage. So madali lang siyang baguhin and madali lang siyang ayusin, especially when we have bugs in our code. So let's wait for a while. Medyo matagal. So, I think while we're waiting, pwede ko rin i-run through yung code. So, yan. Same pa rin naman. So, we have our config. So, I just copied the configuration for the Azure client. Then, Ayun, sumakto na. Nag-run na siya. Oh, not yet. Di pa. Okay, yan. So, yan. Since I'm running through also, so ito lang is a collaborative application. So, it has different components. So, pwede natin i-share yung kanina, ang sinishare lang natin is yung value lang nung dice. Ngayon naman is iba-iba na yung data na sinishare natin. So, different kinds na yung or different data na or multiple data na yung sinishare natin. So, if you will look onto the shared map, so isa pa rin naman. So, yung initial object natin is still using a shared map, but under that, there are different multiple objects already. So, hindi lang isang value lang or isang data lang. So, meron mga number of users na online, meron ding yung color nung sticky note or yung mga text na nilalagay natin or yung position nung sticky note, for example. So, marami na tayong sinishare. So, this is the Brainstorm app actually. So, yan. Nag-load na siya automatically. So, let's just wait for our application to load. Okay. So, may nag-error. I'm not sure. Okay. That's the user. Hindi ko nagamit yung user. Try to load again. So, kailangan pala natin yung generated user. Okay. So, refresh natin. Yun. Gumana na siya. Alright. So, kung makikita nyo, this is actually a collaborative or a brainstorming collaboration app. So, ano ba yung ginagawa nito? So, if for example, I have added a note. By the way, same pa rin yung ginagamit nating concept. We are using the ID of the container as our session. So, this is actually one session. So, if I move that, yung position or yung coordinates ng sticky note is sinishare natin between or in this session. So, the coordinates, the text that we are using, or we are writing, so dapat makikita yan ng ibang session. So this is happening in real time. So even the default color, so if we add a note, so this will also be reflected real time in different sessions. So let us try. So kung para maniwala kayo, I will create another tab. Let's close this dice roller. Let's open another tab. So, pag inopen ko tong session na to, same session in another user, so makikita ko na yung mga changes. And you will also see the users that are actually using the session. So, this is the list of the user. So, if I type something here, so this is awesome. So, you should see this update also in the other tab. So, this is the different tab already. So, makikita natin na update siya in real time. So, I guess, pwede rin naman natin siyang ipakita as separate. Yan. So, you will see na nag-update siya automatically. Okay. So, that's being done by the Fluid framework or the Fluid service itself. So, this is already hosted in Azure. So, makikita nyo na marami na itong sinishare na data. So, there's no boundaries in Azure Fluid framework as well. So, depende sa logic or depende sa needs or resources or data na gusto nyong i-share between sessions. So, even the likes, it's also shared. So, marami na. Marami na tayong nagagawa. And even the sticky notes, kung sino yung gumawa or saan siya nakalocate. So, these are all shared in the container itself. So, yeah, that's my demo, I guess. So, you have also already seen Azure Fluid and Fluid framework. So, yeah, I think that's about Azure Fluid framework. So, let's just summarize. So, Fluid framework or Azure Fluid framework, this is a technology for creating collaborative apps using containers. And why Fluid or why Azure Fluid? So, it offers low latency and it's a client-centric application, so we are just worrying about the front-end code only. And yeah, other advantages as well, it has different recipes or available recipes that we can use. So if you are an Angular developer, React, Vue, or vanilla JavaScript, or even Svelte, from what I remember, so lahat na halos ng available frameworks yun is pwede mo nang gamitin si Fluid. And yeah, for your reference, I will share this slide also later on in the comments. So if you want to discover more about Fluid or Azure Fluid, so these are the reference that I find it very helpful for you guys. So yeah, that's it for my talk. So thank you guys for joining us this evening. I know medyo gabi na, but yeah, he still insisted to learn some new stuffs in our community. So yeah, if you want to contact me or if you have other questions that is outside this talk, so yeah, I'm also a mentor, so you can visit my GitHub CGV13. Yeah, I will also share this slide, and I have my website seijivillafranca.com, and if you want to reach me out, this is my Facebook. So yeah, once again, thank you guys for joining us, and syempre, pinaka-importante, happy coding always, right?
Alright. Thank you, Seiji. Okay, so if you have questions about Azure Fluid Relay, feel free to comment them down. So, ayun, may question tayo from Sir Jocelyn. What are the differences between Azure Fluid Relay tsaka Firebase?
Yun. Wait lang, sorry, yung camera ko nawala.
Okay lang. Okay lang.
Yun. Nawala. Naglolo ko kanina pa yan. Yan. Ayan. So, thank you, Jocelyn, for the question. So, yun, si Firebase kasi, for Angular example, kasi more on sa akin kasi one-stop shop na siya. Meron na siyang functions, meron na siyang authentication. So, kung tutusin na, mas powerful si Firebase. Si Fluid Relay kasi is, ano lang siya part lang siya ng service ni Azure. Pero kung i-compare natin siya siguro, dun sa Firebase, no, real-time database, I would say mas reliable pa rin si Fluid Relay. Kasi ginagamit din namin si Firebase sa ibang project. So, yung real-time nila is yun, gumagamit siya ng listeners din, di ba? For example, if you're using Angular Firebase, hindi pa rin siya ganun ka-real-time. Sometimes it has delays also. So, hindi talaga siya, I would say, well, maganda rin siya since it's documents. Parang ano din siya JSON objects din na ini-store. Pero yun nga, in terms of real-time, mas ginagamit talaga si Fluid Relay. Ito na yung parang pinaka-close sa WebSockets without or zero custom code sa server natin. So I think that's the difference. Ayan.
Alright. So, meron tayo isa pang question from, ito kay Mark galing. Ano yung difference pala nito sa SignalR?
Thank you, Mark. Si Mark ulit. Suki talaga. Ayan. So, ayan, hi pala, Mark. So, difference. Ayan. Si SignalR, na sabi ko kanina, WebSocket, well, para siyang WebSockets actually. WebSocket talaga. So, ginagamit siya sa .NET. So, ang difference kasi is, same sila ng objective actually. But the difference is yung complexity. So, sa SignalR kasi is tayo yung nagde-develop or tayo yung nagse-set up or nagko-configure nung code. Nag-lag na naman yung camera ko. So, yun, tayo yung nagko-configure ng code or yung connections natin dun sa server. So, yun yung ginagawa natin kay SignalR. Tayo yung nag-handle nun. And may sarili din siyang library kay Angular. So, that's Angular SignalR. So, mini-worry natin both sides, back-end and front-end. So, si Fluid Relay, so kung nakita nyo kanina, ang nirarun ko lang is yung front-end or yung client app natin. So, that's actually the main difference. So, nire-reduce niya yung complexity in building real-time applications. So, that's it. That's the difference.
Alright. So, if may questions kayo, no, feel free to leave them down sa comment. Yun, magbasa muna tayo ng mga shoutouts habang siguro nagtatype pa sila. Ito from Mark Pabilon. Ito, nag-check-in na din to sa app natin. First comment, hi. From Bokushito, second kanina. Si Mark din, na good eve. Hi, Hans, Christian, good evening daw. Ito si JP, yung co-host mo kanina. And good evening.
Ayun, si JP, good evening.
Oo, si Anjo. Ayan, good evening po.
Yes.
Si John Edward. Good evening din. Sabi ni Patrick, good evening po. Sabi ni Fretch, good evening. Sabi ni Marjan, good evening. Sabi ni Lechim, ganun din, good evening din. Ito sabi ni John Edward, yan, astig ng technology na to, sarap recommend sa company
yes.
Yan. Alright. Actually very good to, no, lalo na kung yung stack nyo talaga is Azure.
Very good siya, yeah. May integrate mo, nandun lahat. So, isang resources lang kayo na ginagamit. So, pwede nyo siyang ma-integrate sa Azure. So, for example, may container apps kayo. So, madali lang din siya integrate. Well, actually, independent naman siya. Kung saan mo siya din-deploy. But, if, OC ka, ka talaga, in performance, so gusto mo talaga nakastack sa isa-isang resources lang, ayaw mo nang masyadong, that's actually requirement na yung latency. So, kung gusto mo nasa isang resource group na lang siya, so, magandang option si Fluid Relay, especially if you're an Azure stack talaga.
Alright. Probably last question pero galing dito kay John Edward yan. Libre po ba yan, sir? Just for testing purposes to implement or need na mag-subscribe sa Azure?
Ayun, thank you, John Edward. Yeah, kailangan nyo talaga mag-subscribe sa Azure, pero yung napakita ko kanina, yung sa basic plan, alam ko walang bayad yun sa mga operations. But hindi siya parang yun yung testing na part. Pero pag yun nga, kailangan nyo pa rin talaga mag-subscribe sa Azure. May credits naman, pero if, for example, may credits kayo, hindi yun mababawasan pag basic yung gamit nyo. Pero kapag pumunta na kayo dun sa standard plan, meron Azure Pricing Calculator. So, makikita nyo dun yung price. So, hindi siya per month siya pero depende dun sa ginagamit nyong operations dun sa container or dun sa fluid container. So, dun siya nagbe-base. So, yan, pwede nyo computein dun. For example, 1 million operations yung kailangan nyo. So, meron siyang rate dun sa Azure Pricing Calculator. Yan. So, ginagamit namin to actually. So, sa PWA app namin. So, real-time kasi yung app namin na PWA. So, it's good kasi si PWA, napadali niya yung cross-platform namin. And gumanap din kami ng technology na mas mapapadali yung real-time namin. So, yun. Best of both worlds siya in PWA.
Alright. So, yun yung last, no? Anyway, last shoutout from Mark din. Yan. Thank you, Seiji.
Thank you din, Mark, sa pag-attend.
Alright. Once again, no, thank you, Seiji, for your time. Hopefully, ma-invite ka pa namin sa mga future events. And, in case, no, pwede siguro ulitin, no, kung paano kanila ma-reach if may questions sila.
Yep, ayun. Thank you din pala, Andre. It's a pleasure always na makapag-talk sa PWA Pilipinas. So, yeah, I love sharing my stuffs here in PWA. So, yan, para ma-reach out nyo ako, guys. Actually, search nyo lang yung pangalan ko, madali lang hanapin. Seiji Villafranca. And, sige, share ko na rin pala yung slides ko. I'll share my slides here in the comments. So, nandun naman lahat ng socials ko rin. But yeah, you can just search me. Even in LinkedIn, Facebook, you're free to connect. So, if you have other questions as well. Yep.
Alright. So, yun. Once again, thank you, Seiji. And before we end our program, yan, konting reminders na ulit na please, no, mag-check-in kayo. Ayun pala, okay, shinare ni Seiji yung ating slides. Yan. So, nasa comments din yan. Make sure to check in kasi we're tracking your attendance. And to download your certificate, check in kayo. Click yung download certificate. And syempre gagawin na siya ng ating magical cat. Tapos pwede siya i-download. Alright. And another one is yun nga, July 29 to 30, AWS Community Day. Di siya Azure AWS siya, pero if interested kayo about cloud technologies, it's a good day to learn about cloud in general. Alright, so ano pa ba? Saan nyo kami makita? Sa Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and sa app. Yun, join Stack League. And yun, kung gusto nyo maging speaker, kagaya ni Seiji, di ba? Magsubmit lang din kayo ng session sa sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas. And if may ginawa kayong PWA, submit nyo lang yan sa showcase.pwapilipinas.org and ipopromote natin yan very soon. Alright, so once again, ako si Adesito Guzman and maraming salamat Seiji and kita-kits sa susunod nating live stream. Maraming salamat. Bye-bye.
Yep, thank you, Andre. Thank you guys for joining. Bye-bye.
You can't get enough. Right into the dawn. We should let it go. I know what you want.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations. Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
Do you want to maximize your job prospects? Join the elite ranks of Stack League Gold players and unlock exclusive job opportunities that can take your career to the next level. This is open for React Native, Python, and C# developers. It is also open for part-time programming trainers. And also it is open to Pro League Gold level challengers. Level up to Gold now. Just visit stackleague.com/PWA Pilipinas. Are you passionate about progressive web apps? Do you want to share your knowledge with others? Then you're in luck. PWA Pilipinas is inviting speakers who are passionate about progressive web apps, web development, and cloud development to submit their proposal for upcoming events. Speakers can choose from various topics related to PWA development such as architecture, performance, security, accessibility, user experience, testing, deployment, monetization, etc. Speaker can also share their own experiences and case studies of building or using PWAs. If you're passionate about progressive web apps and want to inspire others and learn from fellow PWA enthusiasts, this is your chance. You can apply as a speaker by visiting sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas and filling out the form with your details and talk abstract. Don't miss this opportunity to be part of the community that's shaping the future of web and cloud development in the Philippines, PWA Pilipinas. Wow, congratulations on creating your own progressive web app. That's amazing. Now, it's time to share it with the community so they can be inspired and amazed by your work. Whether you made it yourself, with your group, or your company, all projects are welcome to be showcased. We'll make a pub, probably do a live, and invite you to personally share your experience making it. We promise to make sure your efforts in making it will be worth it. Promise. So what are you waiting for? Send your project details now at showcase.pwapilipinas.org and let's showcase your amazing work to the world. We can't wait to see what you've created.